Well, a stocks report from the USDA has caused many commodity prices to soar once again, fueling an already high market. Neil Melancon now joins us with this week's Bottom Line. And Neil, a lot of farmers probably are thinking it, but man, these markets have just been going crazy. And at this point, nobody knows where these rising prices are going to stop. What's going on out there?
Well, it's a very familiar scenario, Mike. The last 2 weeks, we've had two very important events happen. The first was the Fed buyout of $600 million worth of U.S. Treasury bonds. And while this move was anticipated and largely figured into the markets, the resulting effect are and will be ongoing, namely the weakening of the U.S. dollar, which is a boon to our exports, making our grains in particular attractive to the overseas markets. Secondly, we had a USDA supply and demand report which was seen as bullish for the grains, especially for soybeans. The yield data, as you can see, corn came in right about where the trade expected, which is about 1.5 bushels lower than the October report. Soybeans came in significantly lower than expected, and while it's still only about 0.5 bushel lower than October, it contributed to an unexpected shortfall in what was thought to be a solid bean crop. Now, production-wise, we see much the same for corn, fairly close to trade expectations, and lower than October, which was largely already factored in. Beans, meanwhile, are showing about 40 million bushels less than expected, which is significant when you consider that exports have been so strong. Finally, the carryout picture, which was perhaps the most telling. Corn carryout was lower than expected by about a good 23 million bushels. Beans, however, showed a big drop not only from October, but well below what most traders thought. This is a reflection of not only lowered production, but an increase in China's demand. The bottom line here is we are seeing an intensifying of the acreage battle that's coming up by a large margin. With cotton now hitting $1.25 for new crop, it's going to be a serious competitor with grains as well, especially here in Louisiana, since the last time we saw prices nearly that high was about the Civil War, and I don't think many two folks are around that remember those times. The only question will be the inevitable market correction that comes into play, how much it will affect the markets, but from what I'm hearing, Mike, it may not be enough to slow those prices down for very long.
And of course, Neil, when China gets into the game, all bets are off, and I know farmers are really hoping those higher prices remain. Thanks. And remember, you can listen to any of Neil's reports on the Louisiana Farm Bureau Radio Network by clicking on over to our website, twilightTV.org. There you'll also find a list of stations where you can tune in. Just look for the link called LFB Radio Network on the left side of the homepage. That does it for this edition of This Week in Louisiana Agriculture. Next week, we'll head back into Holly Clegg's Trim and Terrific Kitchen for a dish that will surely complete your Thanksgiving Day menu. Until then, you can watch any of our stories online 24 hours a day. Just click on over to our website, twilightTV.org. For all of us here at This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Michael Dana. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. Hope to see you again right here next week.